Hello, and welcome back to Two Kids and a Mullet Later podcast with Lavalea and Colby.
Hello, and welcome back to Two Kids and a Mullet Later podcast. I'm so excited to have Raynie on with us. She is a traveling blue-collar wife. She also does content creation. That's how I found her, and I'm just so excited to interview her today. Hello.
Hi, I'm so excited.
I know, me too. So I wanted to start off so tell us a little bit about yourself and about your presence on social media.
So I kind of started social media as everyone else does. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to post. And I started out with Western fashion, and my page grew pretty much overnight 2 years ago. And it scared me so much that I just didn't post for like a year and a half because I was like, I don't like that. And then I ended up turning over to just posting, and then I met Harmon, and then I became a stay-at-home wife. I also worked on the pipeline as well. I was Harmon's helper. That's just pretty much what I just started posting, like a day in the life. I wasn't really a big fan of day in the life content personally, just because I never resonated with it. It was always the girlies and Lululemon. I mean, I loved it, but it didn't resonate with me. It was always the girlies and the Lululemon telling you about their day, and I'm like, girl, I'm gonna show these people about my day. And I know that there's a lot of shock factor to people who maybe might not know about this lifestyle, and I think that's like such a flex. I'm like, yeah, I live in a camper and it's amazing.
Right. So how did you and Harmon meet?
We met through Facebook. I tell everyone Facebook Marketplace just so that they don't think I was on Facebook dating. He messaged me, and a lot, you know how guys are, they're like, hey, beautiful, and you're like, ew, another one. You know what I mean? Like, you want substance. And so he ended up texting me on Facebook, and he was like, where's your honey hole? Because I had a bass as my profile picture. And I was like, girl, I'm not telling you where my honey hole's at. And he was like, well, can we like hang out or whatever? I was like, you know what? I give credit where credit is due, because he wasn't like everybody else. You know what I mean? And I kind of friend zoned him. I had been single for 3 years, and I had just gone on a date where a man took a drink from his cup with both hands. And I said, I can't do this. There's no masculinity to be found.
Red flag.
So I ended up meeting him probably 2 weeks after that date. And I was like, look, I have no desire to be in a relationship. I don't have the capacity to be in a relationship. And it just goes to show, when you meet the right person, you all of a sudden have all the capacity in the world.
Right.
And it just took off from there. I think 3 weeks later, I was on the road living in a camper with him, and it's been sunshine and giggles since then.
I love that. So what exactly does he do? He's a pipeline welder?
So he is a pipeliner, and currently he is somewhat supervising. It's a little complicated, but like, he goes back and forth. He's the only traveling welder with this company. So that's affecting, like, but other than that, he is a pipeline welder. And his first day taking a pipeline test was my first day as his helper.
Stop.
The girl had so much faith in me, and I don't know how he did it, because there was one point during his wet branch test, which is where they pull water through your test, where I heard 70 and he said 20. I almost blew the whole thing for both of us. We would have gone home.
But did it end up being good? Like,
oh, he was fine. Of course he was fine. I have all the confidence in him. So if I ever sound a little cocky, it's just because he's my man.
As you should.
Thank you.
So was it a hard decision to leave behind a more stationary lifestyle to go on the road with him?
50-50. I'm kind of insane. So like to me, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, you know? And then the other part of me was like, I don't have a backup plan if this doesn't work out. I had savings and that was it. And I was like, what if he's not who he says he is? 3 weeks in, you don't even know their favorite color.
Right.
But we had conversations so early on that you would have 6 months down the road that I just kind of trusted it. My grandmother had passed in between the time that I met him and we had gone on the road. And just, that saying where it's like your partner it's really important to choose the right partner because they walk you through death, grief, life, all the things, broke, poor, rich, whatever. It, it was a true testament to his character right then and there that I was like, I feel comfortable and I feel safe that this isn't going to go badly.
Right.
And so I just took the jump. And I mean, it came with so many learning curves. He ended up having to leave to go to Hawaii for months. So I had the camper by myself. I became Mrs. Fix-It. You just have to bend at the will of this lifestyle. I mean, you can miss your family all you want, but they'll be there when you get back.
Right. And I mean, it's almost like an adventure too. Like you said, it was definitely a leap of faith for you, but it ended up being something that was positive.
It was probably the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. And I'm not one with reputable decisions.
But what's your favorite and least favorite part about living on the road?
My favorite part about living on the road is every day is new. There's no repetitiveness in my life ever. And I think a lot of people would think that it would just be repetitive. But it's not. You have so many things to do, maintaining the camper and whatever else. Something that I don't like is probably pregnancy on the road.
Right.
That one is sacrificial to say the least. I'm going to go a little bit deep. This pregnancy has not been easy since conception. I was diagnosed with hyperemesis, which is basically where you get sick your entire pregnancy X amount of times over and over and over again. Even water doesn't stay down. So that has been a struggle. And then being faced with the fact that I have to move home the rest of my pregnancy without my husband.
Right.
So that has been the hardest part of this entire lifestyle for me.
So how does that work? Because I know that a lot of people ask this question. How does it work with like your OB appointments or like, appointments with the baby while you're traveling?
We started that Facebook group and so many girls had said like, "Oh, I travel home." Most of them being within like drivable distance and stuff like that. For me personally, that's just not gonna happen. We live in Ohio currently, and I'm from Texas, so that's a 20-hour drive. That's just not reasonable. I think the reality of it has set in, and I think my situation is just a little bit different. I think every situation when it comes to being pregnant on the road is going to be completely different. I just personally, I wish someone would have sat me down realistically and been like, this isn't logical.
Right.
It's logical in probably the first trimester when you have all your appointments that are a month apart. But as soon as you hit your second trimester, it's every 2 weeks. And then your third trimester, it speeds up. And yeah, I wish someone would have held my hand and been like, don't be stupid.
Right. How do you handle feeling at home when your location is always changing?
That's a good question. Personally for me, this is gonna sound twisted. I have never felt at home.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in a house for 10 years. it's just a personal emotional thing. I've just never felt like I fit in. You know what I mean?
Right.
This lifestyle for me personally, this is my home. This is my home. Like, this has felt, even no matter where I'm at, I feel at home because I'm with my person. And that has completed me to no end. I could buy a shoebox and live in it and be like, this is home, girl.
Right.
And it has some nice curtains and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely makes a difference, your partner. Like, if you decide or are thinking about traveling with your partner, the person you have as your partner is a huge deal in that. I've witnessed women who decided that they wanted to travel with their husband or partner, and they end up getting on the road and they absolutely hate it. And it's because their partner wasn't prepared to be that gateway for communication and for connection and whatever. It was like, they wanted to go to work and come home and be done with the world and pull up. And it's like, you can't do that when you have a partner who is traveling with you, because they left everything behind to come be with you. You need to step up and make sure that you're being that friendship and that connection and that village for them while they don't have the village.
Right. And I also think it can go either way. Sometimes you can have a great partner and you don't have the mentality of being away from family, of sacrificing that time away from home and stuff like that. It could go either way. I do think that from what I've seen on our group, a lot of the times it's women who get into this and they're hit with all of the hard stuff, the camper falling apart, pipes bursting, husband being away even though you lived in a camper to be with him. There's a lot of factors that aren't talked about, that can go right along with it. You can have a great partner and you're just not, I'm not saying not built for this lifestyle, but it does take a certain type of person to give up everything to come on the road. And I feel like that's not talked about either. I feel like both sides aren't really talked about because it's a hard conversation of, well, I made this decision and I'm in this camper, and it can go either way. I do see from both perspectives. My biggest advice to anybody who is talking to someone prior to dating, and you hear that they are a traveling blue collar worker and that it could be in your future to live on the road, I think that deep conversation needs to be had. What are your expectations of me? Am I financially responsible for myself? Because if so, it's not possible. And I hate to be the hater and say that it's not possible to, it is possible, but it's very rare that you can financially support yourself on the road.
Absolutely.
That's not talked about either. I want to root for the remote jobs, but 98% of the time, it's still an 8 to 5, and you still have to ask off on a random Tuesday that your husband's going to come home and say, hey, we need to load up now.
Right.
That's considered time off from your job. So the remote job, it's a hard conversation. I don't believe in it. And I also don't think it's worth it. But you also have to look for a partner that's willing to understand you're giving up your life at home, you're moving away from your family, you're quitting your job. God forbid you have to sell your car. I had to sell my car, etc. Are they willing to supply financially what you just left behind?
Right.
Too. So I think a conversation always needs to be had between both parties on that. And I hate seeing women get on the road and not like it or love it.
Well, I mean, you're right. Like, I think a lot of people, when they decide they're going to go on the road, it's kind of like this, like, up in the air decision. Like, they do it last minute and just decide they're going to leave everything behind. Like, I don't feel like that many people take the steps that you're talking about and just like go through all the details and all the what ifs and all the, you know, issues that they might have once they get out there. I think it is important, which is, it's crazy that, you know, you're talking about the making money on the road, because someone just messaged me this morning, a girl, and I told her to go join the Facebook page, because I told her that there would be a lot of good recommendations there for her as well. But she was asking me like what are my recommendations of to make money on the road. I don't really have a good idea of that, because the only money I've ever made on the road was from social media, which like that's something I've been working on for years before I came on the road. So, you know, that's kind of how I'm at where I'm at right now. Like getting to the point where you can make a good amount of money is going to take time. So if it's something that you're trying to find where you can make money right now, I don't really have the right recommendations for that.
Which I have recommended multiple times, but it's always situational and it's always circumstantial of who's around you. Are you a Weld family, a Line family, etc.? Are there other wives that are living around you that this would kind of affect? And there is a way to make money, and it's doing laundry, it's cleaning campers, it's meal prepping, errand running, grocery shopping for other people. The possibilities are endless, but it's what you're willing to do.
Right. And I've seen the flyers in different campgrounds we've been at of people putting the flyers in there and being like, we'll do your laundry for this amount and whatever. And being in the campgrounds, and a lot of the campgrounds we end up at are with a lot of other blue collar workers, is I notice like they don't have time to do their laundry. Like the only time they have to do their laundry is at night when they could be going to sleep early, or like on the weekends on their only day off. And I'm sure that's not what they want to be doing. So, you know, you're providing a service that it would be very helpful for them. It's the same with like the meal prepping and the grocery shopping. It's just something less that they have to do, especially if they don't have a partner or a wife on the road with them.
Yeah.
So actually that's a great idea. So.
And you know, I came by that just naturally. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a camper and when you're living this lifestyle, specifically when you're in a camper, within 2 weeks, you're learning what works for you and what doesn't. I don't like the silverware right there. It needs to go over there. You know, and campers are all about functionality. Same with camper lifestyle and these men around blue collar lifestyle. These men have needs too. And when you take a look around, you know, you're like, his wife is 200 miles or 2,000 miles away, you know? So he has no one to cook for him. He does not have time. You know, my husband comes home and he doesn't have time for a whole lot. Me doing what I do, what's another one? You know what I mean? And then I'm making money and he doesn't has to do less. You know, he doesn't have to worry about laundry. He doesn't and I'm already doing it. You know what I mean? So when you look around a campground, you'll see that people need stuff. And I mean,
You could definitely monetize. Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely can. I think one of my friends, she started doing it, and I mean, I think she makes like $800 a week.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But it's how you market yourself too. And it's how you go about it, you know, being organized. You can do Monday's meal prep, Tuesdays, you know, whatever, go all in. You can make a lot of money as long as there's other people around you. You're good to go. But again, you can't depend on it, because what if you move and it's just you and your husband, you know?
It's very up in the air. It's not going to be a constant income.
Yeah.
So we've kind of been talking about the Facebook group a lot so far, but for the people who are listening and don't know what we're talking about, you're the creator of a Facebook group called Traveling Blue Collar Wives, which I also am a part of, and I love it. So can you tell us a little bit about the group and just why you feel like it was important for you to create that community?
I craved community. There was a time when I call it Weld family. or like pipeline family. You meet your first pipeline family and you have like heart eyes because you're like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I love this lifestyle so much. And then you have to say goodbye. And then you're faced with sometimes not getting on with people around your age or whatever the next job could be. You're alone and you're like, oh, so it's not always fun. And that was what I was faced with for many of times. And I just craved community. I craved like sharing recipes. I craved like just having a neighbor with being 2,000 miles away. You know what I mean? Like I craved that. And I was like, I see this need not being filled because your friends back home don't understand your lifestyle.
Right.
And you just crave that camaraderie of people living in a camper and like little hacks and whatever the case may be. And that was my driving point, and also being able to, spread the gospel and, have Bible study and stuff like that, which we did try to do, but it got really complicated because everybody has different schedules. So I just started hosting a study here and there, and it has flourished into something that I love so much and I'm so passionate about.
And I tell people about it all the time. Like anytime anyone asks me any questions in my messages or comments, I'm like, hey, you need to go join this Facebook page, because I have also found such a huge sense of community there. And I'm so glad that you did that, because I mean, so I actually just became really good friends with this girl in my RV park because she was on the Facebook page and saw that I posted the pool of our campground, and she was like, that pool looks really familiar, and messaged me. We've been going to the pool together like every week. Like, and that's like, it's not only creating a community online, but it's helping to create a community in the real world. Like, and I just really appreciate that, you know?
And that's something that I didn't see coming. Like I'm seeing so many posts of girls like, thanks to this group, and they're like at brunch. And I'm like, this literally makes me so incredibly happy. I haven't been able to do that yet because I'm in BFE, Ohio.
You need to make it back down to Texas, girl.
I am. July, I'm headed home. I'm going to be living with my parents again. It's great.
Oh, right.
But it's something that I didn't see coming, and it has fulfilled a little piece of my heart of just seeing that community thrive. I've kept our community somewhat small and been not picky. If you don't answer the questions, I'm not accepting.
Right. Yeah, you had one job.
One job. I just want to know what your husband does and where y'all work, okay?
And it keeps the scammer bots out, okay?
Yes.
If you need to answer the question.
Yes.
It's only 3.
I know. I've kept it small on purpose because I want to establish a deep community. I'm fine with us growing. I have no issue with us growing, but I don't want to get too big because I don't want to lose that sense of community.
Speaking of all of that, what advice would you give to other wives or girlfriends who feel lonely while traveling with their partner?
Get out the house. Get your out the house. Okay? There is so much to explore, even in those teeny tiny podunk towns. Okay? Those little itty bitty coffee shops. Those little itty bitty old mom and pop restaurants. Get you a book. Go to the library. Go do something. Go do something, because your partner can feel that you're lonely. Your partner can feel that you're not fulfilled. And I'm not saying it's just your job to fulfill it, but it's your job to try. And I do think that there's just so much out there to explore, and you have this opportunity. You're on the road in a place that none of your family gets to go to. It might not be the prime time vacation spot, but girl, there's some beauty out there. You know what I'm saying? Go take a walk. These streets are filled with little grandmas who have wonderful gardens. there are things to do constantly. Join the Facebook groups. Join the city Facebook groups. People of Hot Dog Land, whatever. People of Hot Dog Land, join their Facebook groups and reach out. You have this opportunity, take it and run with it.
Right.
And that is my biggest advice, is do something.
Right.
Make your own book club. I mean, I know it's hard to do on the road because you're going to make friends and then you're going to leave in 2 weeks, but it's possible. There's connection everywhere, and that's my other thing. Or also go to the animal shelters. Go to the animal shelters and play with the dogs. You have so much time on your hands to do whatever you want. There are so many people out there who can only work a 9 to 5 and they don't get the opportunity to have a hobby. We have the opportunity to have like 7-Eleven hobbies.
Right.
Girl, bake something. You know what I mean? My encouragement is to just don't sit and rot.
I feel like a lot of people, when they get lonely, it's like their mind tells them to isolate themselves even more. Which that's not going to help the situation. That's going to make it worse. And like you said, there are so many things, even in these small rinky-dink towns, there's so much history with these towns. So, I mean, you can go look up, like you said, on the little Facebook page of that town and be like, go into their little museums of their town and just learn a little bit about their town. Like, I love doing that. So,
oh my gosh, we were in Kansas. Kansas, hands down, if you were to ask me, if your next question would be like, what's your favorite location? Kansas. Kansas a million times. Kansas is so beautiful. It has so much history. And I know so many of my girlies who are in the Facebook group are in Kansas. Girl, drive yourself to Dodge. They got a great steak place, by the way.
Do you feel like the lifestyle of y'all being on the road has impacted your relationship at all, like negatively or positively?
In all the ways it has changed who I am as a person, let alone my relationship. I think, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I think if Harmon and I were to have met in my hometown, stayed in my hometown, got a rent house, and lived a 9 to 5, I just don't see us having any as much excitement as we do living on the road. Now, we are talking about a house, and we are talking about that's a whole new excitement. But this chapter right now has created us to have so much connection. There's times where a song comes on. Oh my gosh, babe, do you remember? Like, what does this song remind you of? What state? You know what I mean? And
that's cute.
Isn't that, I feel like it has helped our relationship not only grow, but also it just gives us excitement. Once again, I'm going to drill down the fact that there's not a lot of people who get to have this experience.
Right.
And we take it as it comes. Obviously, I'm in a boring place right now, so there's not much excitement going on.
But you won't be there forever,
But I know I won't be here forever, and I'm so excited for the next place. And he's so excited for the next place. And like, we plan all these things when we know what's our next location. Oh my gosh, we have to go to dinner here. We have to go to this diner. Harmon and I are whores for mom and pop diners. Give me your nastiest, cheapest coffee, and I'm gonna act like it's literally incredible, because it is.
And y'all are creating so many memories and so many stories that you're going to be able to tell your children one day. Like, whenever you get in, like, say you get into a house and you're raising your kids in the house, you'll get to tell them of all these places which I'm sure at some point you're going to want to take them to different places. But the places that y'all got to go as a young couple before kids and all of those memories, I feel like is just so special.
Oh, yes. They're just, I'm so excited because I can pinpoint so many states and things and times that I know I want to tell our babies about, you know, like this is the exact back road, county road that me and Harmon pulled over and danced to our favorite song to. This is, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the restaurant that I spilled a whole cup of juice on me. You know, that one hasn't happened, but I'm sure it will. It's just exciting, and I have so many stories that I get to go home and tell my people about.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we tried this amazing place. It was unlimited crab legs. You know? So
Right. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. And
okay.
so I know that you're the owner of it's RZ Hat Company.
Yes.
Okay. So what is that business, and can you tell me a little bit about the story behind it? Like why you started it?
So, RZ Hat Co. had been a dream of mine since 2019. It was not originally named RZ Hat Co. It was actually originally named Rated R Hat Co. Um, and like I said, in the beginning of Harmon and I's relationship, my grandmother had passed away. My grandmother was a huge, huge person in my life. She was incredible. They owned an exotic ranch. Think Classy Tiger King. Um, they like my grandmother taught herself all these different mediums of art, glass blowing, bronzing, black and whiteboard etching with needles. I don't know what that's called, but it's great. She taught herself all these things, mid 40s, mid 30s, something like that. Something where we're all like, oh my gosh, that's so old. No, that's like prime time, girl. Your 30s
Right.
and your 40s are your 20s.
30,
In my
flirty, and
opinion.
thriving.
Exactly. Anyways, so when she passed away, that really, really impacted me. I had lost a lot of people in my life in traumatic ways, and that was the first peaceful passing of someone that I got to experience. Um, and her name was Suzanne. She was sassy. The Z in her name was capital. Okay. Um, Anyways, so the RZ, if you can see right here, Ray and Suzanne, which is my grandparents, they were married for 55 years. Um, Super important to me. And I ended up finding this brand because they used to race horses. They used to breed race horses. Um, and this was their brand on one of the horses I found a picture of after she had passed away. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a company. And so I did. RZ Hat Co. was born. And I actually started out making custom cowboy felts from scratch.
Wow.
Doing that in a camper, not smart. Not smart because humidity, the steam, etc.
Right.
I would love to go back to making handmade cowboy hats. I feel like that's something I'm really, really good at because I was never taught. My grandmother was self-taught, and I said, "I'll be damned. I got her in me. I can do this."
Right.
And crazily enough, I was actually pretty decent at it. And so RZ Hat Company was born, and I ended up closing down for about 6 months. I just kind of hit a roadblock, and I just didn't have my passion anymore. Our camper was totaled out. We had so much going on in life that I just couldn't continue. So I closed out the cowboy felt part, and I ended up opening back up 6 months later with just a merch line. And I didn't have that much faith in myself to be successful in that because who's gonna want a shirt with somebody's grandparents' brand on it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was fortunate enough and lucky enough that I had all the signs from my nanny that this would be successful, and it was incredible. I sold out in 8 minutes on my first drop of just my merch line.
Wow.
And that was so humbling. Excuse me. Pregnancy hormones. That was so humbling to be able to experience. Now it has taken a little bit of a backseat because sweet boy.
Right.
but it was born on the pipeline. My logo, my original logo that I haven't really put out, was drawn on a piece of pipe and sent to a digitizer. So, like,
Really?
my head was in the game
Yeah.
while I was in the pipeline.
That's
So,
crazy. I love that
yeah.
though.
Thank you.
Do you feel like, which we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, it's like, do you feel like having some type of passion project is important on the road? Like, even if it's just a hobby and it's not making money, or if it is making money, like, do you feel like that's important?
I think it's important for even the average person who doesn't do this lifestyle, but especially for girls like us who grocery shop on Mondays, laundry's done on Tuesdays, campers clean on Wednesdays. You have 4 other days that are empty. Fill your time. A lot of the times, I think the loneliness, I'm going to touch back on loneliness. I think a lot of the times that lonely feeling is because we isolate ourselves and we don't have something to keep our hands busy and to keep our mind going. Um, that to me is important. And I think everybody should find a hobby, leather work, seed beating, reading, writing, literally anything, quilting, crocheting. There's so many things that you could do with your time, and we only have one life. You know what I mean? And we all have a bucket list of, I just want to learn how to crochet.
Right.
Or like, oh, I want to learn how to quilt. Okay, do it.
Right.
Do it. You know what I mean? Like, the only way you're going to be bad at something is if you don't do it and you only try it one time.
Right. That's
After
another
the
thing.
first
Don't
time,
expect to be a professional the first time. It
yes.
takes a lot of things, especially if they're good things, take time. So,
And after that, like, first time, you're going to learn so much about yourself, about your patience, about whatever. I just think that everybody needs a hobby
right.
for your own
Especially it,
individuality.
right. And
Yeah.
especially if it's creating something, like I think every person has that in them, like the need to want to create. So no matter what that is, and like you could even end up turning that into monetization, down the road. Yeah, I definitely think I agree. I think it's super important. Like you said, even if you're not traveling, that the world is so fast paced, and I feel like we're always busy, but like you just need to set aside some time for you to do things that you truly enjoy, not that are expected of you, things that you just enjoy.
Yes.
What has this lifestyle taught you about yourself?
This lifestyle has taught me that I am one of the most adaptable people I know. um, and it has taught me that I don't need anybody in my life. I want people in my life. It's taught me that I am strong and that I have a wonderful partner.
Amen. Have you ever had a moment where you thought, I just can't do this anymore? And how did you overcome it?
There was a time that Harmon had to go to Wisconsin, and it was supposed to be for 2 weeks. I was in Nebraska, 12 hours away from literally anybody I knew. And I was like, I can handle this. This ain't no thing. It's midwinter. Midwinter in Nebraska without my partner, and my camper decides to blow its entire filter off. My water filter exploded off. Um, I was 2 weeks into a sinus infection. He had been gone for 2 months at this point. It was 18 degrees outside. And I had been taking care of a helper's dog on top of my dog. And his dog was completely different mannerisms from my dog. Anyways, I exploded. I absolutely lost my mind. And then I grabbed myself together and said, get your shit together, because no one's going to come and save you. And I YouTubed how to rig up just a pass. I didn't even have a water filter at that point. I was just like, I don't even need it. I just need to shower.
Right.
And that was one of my biggest breaking points, where I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I'm strong enough. And it all worked out. I was literally fine. I was just being dramatic.
That is a lot, though, for someone to have to go through.
It was so much. It was so much. And he ended up being gone for 4 months. And I think I ended up going back home for a little bit, just because I needed to chill out.
Right.
But genuinely, I had my moment, and then I was fine. I was fine. And that's something that I always tell people, is you're going to have that moment so many times. There was another time where I had worked 140 hours in Wyoming for a turquoise company, worked a 12-hour day, drove 12 hours to, I think, North Dakota. It was either North Dakota, it was to North Dakota, got to North Dakota, slept for 4 hours, woke up the next day, and we had to go to Utah. And Harmon said, hey, don't put DEF in your diesel tank. I've had this truck 2 years. Why in the fuck would you sabotage me like that? I ended up putting DEF in my diesel tank.
Oh my gosh.
And it all worked out. I found somebody that came and towed my truck. I stayed at a friend's house. And he brought my truck within 3 hours. He had just cleared out the tank and refilled it. And then I was back on the road. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to go through Montana. I was trying to get to Utah, I think. I was going to go through Montana, and Harmon's like, okay, that's fine. No service. I'm like, oh my gosh, why does that look like my camper? I pulled up to a 4-way stop. It's my camper. Harmon's wheel stud had exploded off. And I was like, oh, he broke down. So I pulled behind him, talked to him. He's like, oh yeah, Travis is 2 hours away in Laramie trying to find this part for me. Travis's truck doesn't start while he's there.
Oh my gosh.
Laramie. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, all 3 of our trucks went down. I had enough. Like, I was like, this is it for me. Like, clock me out. Someone just put me down, please. So that was another time, but it always works out. It always comes out fine. It always turns out good. Like, yeah.
Right. So do you see this being your lifestyle forever, or, which I know you said something about it earlier, or is there an end goal in mind?
So this has been discussed quite a lot in recent weeks, especially with me moving back home and the baby. And we do plan on eventually moving home, but this baby's going to be a road baby for at least 2 years. We are on our debt-free journey currently, and we plan on paying everything off, I think, 2 months after the baby's born. And then we have a 5-year plan. Pay everything off, save every penny next year. Every single penny is going into savings. And then we want to put money down on land, or stay on the road until we just call it quits.
Right.
But we do want to eventually own land and move back home.
What is the wildest or weirdest place that you've been to while traveling?
Here. I'm in Hubbard, Ohio. Okay? And I'm not, if anyone's from Hubbard, Ohio, I'm not from here. So I might seem like I'm talking shit. The people here are so odd to me. No one waves. No one makes eye contact. You say, oh, excuse me, at the grocery store, or, oh, sorry, excuse me, and they're just dead silent. And I feel constantly like I'm in a simulation. Because I'm so used to, like, literally, I was home a week ago, and I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Because I'm walking in the grocery store, hey, girl, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, girl. Don't even know her.
Yeah.
Don't even know her. And here, it's so odd feeling. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't like it.
So they just don't have that Southern hospitality.
And you know what? I can go without the hospitality. I've been to Minnesota. I've been to Wisconsin, Michigan. I've been to all the northern states. And even there, you know, if you open the door for someone, it's thank you or whatever. You still have that northern attitude, but it's not near what it is here. It's complete avoidance of
Right.
any type of human interaction. And it drives me up a wall.
It does sound like it's like a simulation. I would be questioning my sanity constantly.
Yeah, genuinely.
What is your road trip guilty pleasure as far as like snacks, drinks, stuff like that?
Road trip guilty pleasure. Girl, I don't do snacks. I do full meals. I'm gonna be so honest. I try and be a snack girly, and I'm just not it. At home, I'm a snack girly. I'll snack. On the road, I want a full meal, a full belly, and my bladder empty. And that's just, I've always been like that. So I'm probably Arby's. Don't sue me for that, okay?
I've never tried Arby's, so I can't even give
It's subpar at best, okay? But I love a good French dip, and they're the only ones who do an on-the-go French dip.
I do love
Okay?
French dip.
Me too, okay? It's salty, it's cheesy, it's creamy. Whatever. I'm not explaining myself further. Arby's.
Well, that was my last question. I've had so much fun talking to you and just getting to know you and, you know, talking about the traveling lifestyle and everything, because like you said, a lot of people don't talk about these things and they don't have like someone to go to talk about them with. So again, thank you for the Facebook page, because that also helps create that community and that space for us to be able to do that. But I've enjoyed this interview with you, and I want to thank you so much for coming on and being on the podcast.
It was literally a pleasure to finally be able to talk to you face to face. I have always loved your content. Your husband kills me. Literally kills me because I feel like it's Harmon. I'm watching Harmon in a different font.
Literally.
I'm watching Harmon with tattoos. I'm like,
hey,
you know what?
I just gotta say it. Harmon's mustache is like mustaching. I've been telling
I can eat his face off.
Colby to please do the what is it called? Like handlebar? Yes. I want him to do it so bad, and he will not. I'm just like, whatever.
He won't do it because he knows he's going to unlock a new potential in himself. And he's like, no one's ready for this. Okay. I'm telling you. And if you do, just do it while he's asleep, girl.
I'm just going to go in there with some little gel, mustache gel.
Let me send you what I use.
I'm the Midnight Baba, baby.
Dude, just literally do it in his sleep. Harmon uses Elmer's glue.
No way.
I'm so serious. And it doesn't budge for like 2 days, which is kind of gross if you think about it. It sounds like he doesn't wash his face or nothing, but whatever.
That is
I wear lashes for a week, so I really can't judge him.
Girl, me too.
Don't fall into the trap of everybody using the weird waxes that are $45. It's so overrated.
Just grab you some Elmer's glue. As long as you're not eating it, you're good.